everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today I am going to be making a Mad Max inspired light box in honor of the new Furiosa movie that came out. So let's just get started. Alright, so I decided to make this light box because I really like the movie Mad Max Fury Road. I haven't seen the original Mad Max movies and I just watched Furiosa when it came out and it was pretty decent, but I did like Fury Road better, so I wanted to make a Fury Road light box. At first I was thinking of making this scene with Max standing next to his car, but then I was like, this whole movie is one giant car chase and I thought it could be really cool to show that in this light box. So I made a sketch of the war rig being chased by bandits with Furiosa driving, and I thought it could be really cool to have this whole thing with a dramatic perspective. So I really took my time and sketched it out and tried to make it really detailed and nice. And I was really happy with the sketch I had, so I got started immediately on the background. Luckily, this scenery is really simple. I wanted to create the road going into the distance, and I wanted to differentiate the dirt of the road from the dirt off the road. So I created the road out of sketching paper and the side dirt out of cardstock. So I just glued the layers together bit by bit, creating the road and building up the layers. And then for the sky, I did faint distant mountains and some clouds. Then I stacked all of my layers together and assembled this light box. It's easier and better to do this now than at the very end. And now that all of that is done, I get started on the war rig. My plan for the vehicles was quite simple. I pretty much wanted to create that depth with the perspective and everything by starting out the front of the truck on a layer close to the front, and then having it go back onto layers further in the background by using spacers to space out sections of the truck so it looks like it's going into the distance. So that's what I did, and I started with the very front of the truck and just basically cut out every single part and piece of the truck separately, and I will attach it with little thin strips of foam board later. And I quite enjoyed this process. It was really fun. It felt like when you do a puzzle or a Lego set or something like that, where you have lots of little pieces and you have to build something, and I always enjoyed those things, so this part was really fun. I used my knife to cut lines and details into all of the pieces and added extra layers of cardstock to thicken up some places and make them darker, just wherever I felt like it needed some variety, and I cut the tiny little strips of foam board to assemble things and add that depth. You can see the front wheels are on layer 2 and those middle wheels are in layer 4, and then the back wheels are in layer 6. So I needed to fill in that space with little spacers. To get all of the shapes and proportions correct, I basically just kind of traced over my drawing because that was the easiest and I didn't have to worry too much because I kind of planned it out really well. And this whole process is relatively easy and simple, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. I watched Mad Max Fury Road when I was 12 years old with my dad, and it was one of my favorite movies. It was pretty dark, but something about it just really grabbed my attention and I really loved that movie. And when Furiosa came to theaters, I didn't really have too many expectations, so when I went to see it, I thought it was decent. I didn't love it like the first movie, but there were many good parts. The CGI was a little bit wonky here and there, but overall it was a decent watch. I really loved the world of Mad Max. I think it's super cool to have this post-apocalyptic world, and these vehicles, their designs are really cool. Like, they're scrapped together from different cars and stuff. Like, you can see it's totally put together from random bits and pieces, and I think that's really cool. And I also thought the War Boys looked really cool when I first saw the movie, and how they lived in the Citadel, and just the whole feel and vibe of the movie with the colors and everything was just really epic. So it was fun to recreate those elements. And although this process was really fun, I actually ended up not liking this light box at all in the end. I don't know, maybe it's just the perspective, maybe it's the vehicles, maybe it's too simple, but I just didn't like how it looked in the end. It didn't look good, I don't know. I didn't like it at all, basically. But the process was really fun, so that made up for it. And this happens sometimes with my project. I think it's gonna be a cool idea, and then I execute it and it doesn't look that good. Like this light box, it looks better without the LEDs than with, because I think the cars look cool, but then when you light it up, it just kind of looks weird. I don't know, sometimes it just doesn't translate well. Once I finished all the details on the Warrig, I did the little bandits car that's driving next to them, and this was really simple. I just made the basic body shape out of the paper, and I just cut little triangles, spikes, and glued them all over the car haphazardly to create the same look as the cars in the movies, and it was just really simple. Then, to give it the feeling that the cars are moving, I created dust clouds out of sketching paper and tracing paper. And then I glued them under the tires. So here are the cars finished up, and I debated whether or not to add Furiosa and the War Boys. At first I wanted to, and then I didn't, and then I did, because I wasn't sure if I could draw them well enough that tiny, but I knew I wanted Furiosa at least, because it looks really weird to have the Warrig with the empty seat, because you can see inside, so it would just look really weird if no one's driving the truck. So I created little Furiosa, and it doesn't look like her, I know. And then I decided to create a war boy on the back of the Warrig, and I struggled with him quite a bit. I didn't like how he looked at all, and I was gonna leave him out, but then I just copied a picture off of the internet and it was okay. So I added those in last second, and then I glued the cars into the environment, and the whole thing is done. I used a yellowy orange light to have the same look as the movie, and here it is. Like I said earlier, it just didn't look the way I wanted it to, and I just didn't like how it turned out. But yeah, here it is. Let me know what you think. Also, the bugs were really loving this, so good for them. And yeah, if you enjoyed, please subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!